Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. I have the lighting, I have the fan. How you doing? Right now the time is approximately, what is that? That is, I'm going to cheat. I'll go to my analog, my digital time counter on my computer. It is 11:53 p.m. Eastern Time, and the date is Friday, October 2nd, 2020. The moon is waning in Aries, and as of tomorrow morning, the moon will be waning in Taurus. As many of you know by now, there are two full moons in October 2020. The first one was yesterday, Thursday, October 1st, the date of the full moon in Aries. And the last one will be on Saturday, October 31st, which will be the blue moon in Taurus. The last time there was a full moon on October 31st, which my fellow witches, pagans, and magical practitioners call Samhain, it was in 2001. In my personal magical practice, I do not make a big to-do out of Samhain, but I definitely feel very strongly led to do something as special and as magnificent as possible to honor and celebrate Samhain this year. So stay tuned for that at some point. So I felt led to do two check-ins for this month, for October 2020. This one is part one because it is on the second day of October. And the second one will not be on November 1st, but it will probably be on October 30th. Just a recap of the month for me and that kind of thing. So, you know, I kind of did a bit of a bombshell in the previous check-in video, and I talked about how I went back into therapy. And I wanted to say a little bit more about that. I really didn't want to like leave you like, well, what's going on? You know, so, I have stated on numerous occasions, and especially on social media, that in spite of COVID-19, 2020 has been a fantastic year for me. It really has been a very good year for me. It's been very insightful, very empowering. It's been very physically and emotionally healing. It has presented me with new opportunities. It's presented me with miracles and blessings and gifts. And, you know, some of you know that I am crystal clear that just because I have more than one social media account, I do not believe that people are to have immediate, unfettered access to me. So, you know, that is something that I truly believe, and I am crystal clear that not everything about one's life is to be shared on social media. And I am a firm believer in that. If I were to tell all of you why 2019 was predominantly craptacular, craptastic, crummy, and in many ways a living hell, you'd be like, oh, well, no wonder 2020 is so fabulous for you, bitch. Yes, you'd know. But take my word for it. Please take my word for it. The fact of the matter is that 2019 was a very challenging year for me. It was a very challenging year for me physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, and sexually and psychologically. It was a very, very challenging year. It was a year that held a lot of heartbreak. It was a year that held a lot of disappointment and disgust and discouragement, and it really it really made me feel like, what's the purpose of living? Not that I'm suicidal, but it really was, it was a year that led me to believe that I just need to like go on existing. I need to stop living and just exist and just wait until I die, and then I'll be out of my misery. You know, that's how challenging, and that's how much of a toll last year took on me. And the fact of the matter is that since the beginning of this year, and specifically from February to every month onward, it's been a much more beautiful year. It's been a much more fulfilling year. It's been a much more exciting year. It's been a much more inspirational year. It's certainly been more financially prosperous for me. It's been much more insightful. I have developed a deeper relationship with myself than I ever thought possible. I also came to realize that a lot of emotional wounds resurfaced for me between last year and this year. Emotional wounds that shocked me in their reappearance. And I really felt that I needed to do something else. And, even though I have not had the greatest history engaging in therapy, I really felt that therapy was the answer. I really felt that therapy was the option I needed to pursue. And several people made this crystal clear to me, several deities made this crystal clear to me. I've always felt that when it comes to healing, I need to do things as naturally as possible. But the fact of the matter is that sometimes there are things that need to be done a certain way, and sometimes it requires a man-made answer or another alternative. Believe me, I would rather not take medication for anything. I'd rather do everything as holistically and as naturally as possible. But the fact of the matter is that sometimes people need to take medication for different things. And sometimes yours truly needs to take medication for different things. Men, physiologically speaking, have a lower threshold for pain than women. So, the thought of waiting out a headache for 19 days no longer appeals to me. And I don't think that I could do it. I don't think that I could wait until I could endure 19 days of living with a headache until it finally disappeared. Maybe when I was younger, but not now. So I went back into therapy for the first time in more than 25 years, and I got to tell you, it was an intake session, but it was also very much like a therapy session, like a therapy session that one would expect to have from the get-go. And one thing that I remember discussing with the person that I thought was going to be my therapist was that a lot of body image issues have resurfaced for me, and a lot of worrying about how much weight I've gained, which isn't that much. I've regained about 25 pounds since the beginning of this year, which is not like, it's not 50 pounds, it's not 75 pounds, it's not 150 pounds, it's 25 pounds. But I knew instinctively that worrying about it and stressing over it was not going to help me. And yet I kept stressing over it and worrying about it and driving myself nuts about it. No pun intended. So, after that first intake session, I found myself experiencing a level of peace with regards to my overall body image. And now there is this greater sense of comfort and peace about losing weight. And losing the weight by just, eating less of certain foods, eating more of certain other foods, drinking less of certain fluids, drinking more of certain other fluids. And certainly, I am thoroughly convinced that the great goddess has become my fitness drill sergeant. Come on, walk, bitch, walk, you're not done, take a break later. And seriously, I'm just like, things keep falling, I keep picking them up, and I'm like, the great goddess is like, you are gonna work your ass. So, yeah, and the fact of the matter is that I feel so much more peace about my body image. I'm beginning to look at myself in the mirror and love what I see again. I'm beginning to look at myself in the mirror and like what I see again. And I know that there are other emotional wounds that have resurfaced that are going to take a little bit longer. That's fine. That's how it is sometimes. Sometimes an emotional wound takes a little bit longer to heal, to dissolve, to surrender and release. And some of them have been plaguing me for a while. Some of them have been plaguing me for far too long. But I know now that there were certain decisions that I needed to make so the healing and the dissolving of those issues could finally come to pass. I do not go out of my way to hurt people. I don't go out of my way to hurt anybody or anything. And yet there are times when I have needed to make a decision that some people didn't like, that some people became upset about, and some of those people were like, I want nothing more to do with you. They didn't say that, they just made it clear in their non-actions and in not communicating with me that they want nothing more to do with me. And, you know, it's always upset me when that happens, because I'm being completely honest, and I'm being forthcoming, and I'm being authentic and transparent in what's going on that's preventing me from doing something right now. And whether I like it or not, people are going to react how they're going to react, and I have no control over that. You know, that's how it is sometimes. Sometimes that's what's going to happen, and it doesn't matter if I like it or not. It doesn't matter if I accept it or not. That's how it's going to be, and that's what I need to use to move forward and to keep moving forward. Other than that, I am looking forward to being back at Notions and Potions next week. I've mentioned in one or two previous videos that Cheryl, the living goddess who owns Notions and Potions, is not having a psychic fair this month at Chill Wine Bar, which is conveniently located next door to Notions and Potions. I know that my intention is to give readings at the virtual full moon magical market next month. I need to follow up with Amy Wilson, who invites people to live deliciously, and find out the date of when the full moon magical market is in November. And definitely make sure that I get to register prior to the deadline, because I didn't get to register prior to the deadline of the one that's taking place tomorrow, Friday, October 3rd, 2020, from 6 p.m. to midnight. But I know that there are going to be so many wonderful readers and so many wonderful vendors at that one, and I absolutely invite all of you to avail yourselves of all of the wonderful offerings for that particular virtual full moon magical market, courtesy of Moon, Serpent, and Bone, and sponsored by Otherworldly Waxes. I definitely am looking forward to a lot of wonderful things that are going to happen in autumn, and there are some that are going to be just very, very exciting, and I might even have some surprises for you from all of them, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, I definitely want to thank all of you for all of your beautiful comments, all of the shares, all of the likes, all of the subscriptions. Thank you to those of you who have been scheduling your appointments with me, whether it is for an in-person reading at Notions and Potions, or whether it is a virtual reading, either phone, video, or email, through Notions and Potions, through Catland Books, through the virtual full moon magical markets, or any other venue at which or through which I offer readings and psychic services. I wish all of you a beautiful night. I wish all of you a wonder-filled weekend, and may the great goddess continue to bless you and yours with love, light, prosperity, peace, wholeness, healing, money, and magic. Good night, and stay tuned for the next video.